You're standing in the personal care aisle at your grocery store, and you're not really thinking about what you're doing. You've been here 100 times before. The fluorescent lights are bright, the shelves are packed with options. Everything is organized by brand and type. You move along slowly, scanning, looking at packaging, reading claims. You're not being analytical. You're shopping the way most people shop. You see something that catches your attention, you read the front of the package, you maybe flip it over, and then you make a decision based on how it makes you feel. Your eyes land on a bar of soap sitting on the middle shelf. It's not the cheapest option, but it's not premium either. The packaging is clean and understated. The design is modern. There's no loud marketing language screaming at you. The branding looks trustworthy. It says something like gentle daily soap or natural formula or extra moisturizing. The color palette is calming. The imagery suggests something natural and wholesome. You pick it up. It feels substantial in your hand. The weight suggests quality. You bring it close to your nose and smell it. The scent is pleasant, not overwhelming. Clean, fresh. You read the front claims again. Gentle, moisturizing, with natural ingredients. You look at the price. It seems reasonable. You think to yourself, this seems like a good choice. This is probably decent soap. You don't read the full ingredient list. You don't compare it to other products. You don't think about what makes soap actually work or how different soaps affect your skin differently. You just feel like this is probably fine. You put it in your cart and move on. But here's what you didn't see. The first ingredient listed in that bar, after water, is sodium lauryl sulfate or sodium laureth sulfate. This is a synthetic detergent. It's not soap. It's the same chemical used in heavy-duty industrial degreasers and in shampoos designed to strip oils away. It's the same chemical used in floor cleaners and in car wash formulas. It's highly effective at removing oils, which is why it's used in these products. But that effectiveness comes at a cost. When you use it on your skin, it doesn't just remove dirt. It removes the natural oils that your skin needs to maintain its protective barrier. The moisturizing claim on the front comes from a small percentage of glycerin added to the formula. But glycerin is a humectant, which means it draws water into your skin but doesn't prevent the detergent from stripping away your natural oils. The natural ingredients claim is technically true because the soap contains some plant extracts or essential oils for fragrance, but these natural ingredients are a small percentage of the overall formula. The actual cleansing action comes from the synthetic detergent, which is not natural at all. When you get home and step into the shower, you use this soap for the first time. The lather is great. It creates lots of bubbles. Your skin feels clean immediately after washing. There's that satisfying squeaky clean sensation. You feel like the soap worked. You feel like you made a good choice. But then, within an hour, your skin starts to feel uncomfortable. It feels tight. It feels like it's pulling. If your skin is naturally dry, this feeling is pronounced. The tightness is almost painful. If your skin is naturally oily, your body interprets the stripping of oils as a signal that it needs to produce more oil. So it does. And you end up with your skin feeling both tight and greasy, which doesn't make sense until you understand what's happening. You might think that your skin just needs time to adjust. You might think you need a better moisturizer. You might think you need a different soap. You might think your skin is just sensitive. But the actual problem isn't any of those things. The problem is that you're using a product designed to strip away the protective barrier that your skin uses to stay healthy. Your skin is having a normal, healthy response to an overly harsh product. It's not that your skin is broken or sensitive. It's that the soap is too aggressive. This is the first critical mistake that most people make in the soap aisle. They assume that a clean feeling means the soap is working well. They don't understand that the tight, pulling sensation is a warning sign. They don't realize that there's a difference between removing dirt and damaging your skin's natural protection. They don't know that actual soap is gentler than synthetic detergent, even though both can clean effectively. So they keep buying the same kind of product, and they keep having the same uncomfortable skin experience, and they assume that's just how their skin is, rather than realizing it's the soap. You go back to the aisle a few weeks later. The soap didn't work out the way you thought it would. Your skin still feels uncomfortable. You decide to try a different product. This time, you pick something more expensive. The packaging is fancier, the design is more elaborate. There's more text, more claims. The product tells a story. Maybe it's a story about the company's values, or about sustainable sourcing, or about traditional methods. The packaging uses words that appeal to you emotionally. Words like nourishing, or luxurious, or botanically infused, or artisanal. The price is significantly higher than the basic option you tried before. Maybe it's twice as much, or 3 times as much. You read the front claims. It says, made with organic oils. It says no synthetic ingredients. It says cruelty-free and sustainably sourced. You feel good about this choice. This feels like you're making a smarter decision. This feels like you're supporting something good. You feel like you're treating yourself better. You put it in your cart and feel satisfied. But when you get home and use this soap, you have the same experience. Your skin feels tight, it feels dry, it feels uncomfortable. You might think that this particular soap just isn't right for you. You might think you need to use less of it, or rinse more thoroughly, or follow up with a moisturizer. But you probably don't realize what's actually happening. You probably don't read the full ingredient list carefully, And if you did read it, you might not understand what you're reading well enough to realize that the primary cleansing ingredient is still a synthetic detergent. This soap might use sodium cocaate instead of sodium lauryl sulfate, which means the detergent is made from coconut oil rather than from petroleum, and that's technically better, but it's still synthetic. It still strips your skin. The organic oils mentioned on the front of the package are present in the formula, but they're not the primary cleansing ingredient. They're added for some functional benefit and for marketing purposes, but they don't change the fundamental behavior of the product. The no synthetic ingredients claim might be technically true if you count soap made from oils as non-synthetic. But the detergent itself is still synthetic by any reasonable definition. It's just made from a renewable source instead of a petroleum source. You're standing there holding this premium bar, feeling good about your choice, but you're actually buying something very similar to the budget option you tried before. You're paying significantly more money for essentially the same product. You're paying for the story, you're paying for the packaging, you're paying for the feeling of making a good choice. But the actual product, the thing that touches your skin and affects how your skin feels, is fundamentally similar to what you bought before. This is the second critical mistake that most people make in the soap aisle. They assume that a higher price and fancier packaging correlate with better quality. They assume that more expensive means better. They don't realize that companies have learned to use price as a signal of quality, even when the products are fundamentally similar. They don't realize that the packaging, the design, the story, and the branding are often the most expensive parts of what they're buying, not the actual product inside. You move further down the aisle. Now you're in the section where brands position themselves as wellness or lifestyle products. These soaps are the most expensive. They're displayed near skincare products rather than with basic personal care items. The packaging is beautiful and minimal, with a carefully chosen color palette. There's often sustainability messaging. Some of these brands will emphasize that they're cruelty-free. Some will highlight that they're vegan. Some will focus on being zero waste or plastic-free. Some will emphasize that they donate to environmental causes. Some will focus on being made by women or by a marginalized community. Some will emphasize traditional methods or cultural heritage. All of these things might be true. But here's the critical insight. None of them tell you anything about the actual quality of the soap or how it will behave on your skin. You can have a soap that's cruelty-free and vegan and environmentally responsible and still made primarily from synthetic detergents. You can have a soap that supports a good cause and still strips your skin. You can have a soap that's made using traditional methods and still be harsh. These claims appeal to your values. They make you feel like you're making an ethical choice. They make you feel good about buying the product. But they don't change what happens when you use the soap on your skin. You pick up one of these premium wellness soaps. It's beautiful. The bar feels substantial. The scent is complex and interesting. The packaging is thoughtfully designed. The story is compelling. Maybe it's made by a small family business. Maybe it supports fair trade cocoa farmers. Maybe it's plastic-free or carbon neutral. The price is high, maybe 4 or 5 times what a basic soap costs. You feel like you're not just buying soap. You're making a statement about your values. You're supporting something good. You're investing in your well-being. You're treating yourself well. You put it in your cart and feel accomplished for making this choice. But when you use it, you have the same experience. Your skin feels tight, it feels dry, it feels uncomfortable. You might assume that this particular bar isn't right for you. You might assume that you need to adjust how you use it or that your skin will adjust given time. But you probably don't realize that the fundamental problem is the same as it was with the cheaper options. The story on the package doesn't change what's in the soap. The good cause it supports doesn't prevent it from being harsh. The beautiful packaging doesn't mean the product is better for your skin. The cultural heritage doesn't change the chemical composition. You've paid a premium price for a product that might actually be worse for your skin than something significantly cheaper. All because the branding and packaging and story made you feel like you were making a good choice. All because the marketing was more effective. This is the third critical mistake that most people make in the soap aisle. They trust the larger narrative over the actual product. They buy the story more than the soap. They make decisions based on how the purchase makes them feel, rather than on how the product will perform. And because the story is compelling and makes them feel good, they keep buying the same brand even if the product doesn't work well for their skin. They might even convince themselves that the product is good, that their skin will adjust, that they're just being impatient, that they didn't give it enough time. But the actual problem hasn't changed. The soap is still stripping their skin. Now imagine you're nearly finished shopping in this aisle. You've narrowed your choices down to a couple of options. You're comparing prices. You're thinking about which one actually feels like the right choice. And then you notice something different. It's easy to miss because it's not positioned prominently. It's not flashy. The packaging is plain. It's just a simple bar with minimal design. There's no compelling story on the package. There's no wellness messaging. There's no beautiful aesthetic. It just says something straightforward like pure soap or natural bar soap or just the brand name and maybe with olive oil or unscented. The price is usually between $3 and $6. The bar looks unassuming. There's minimal marketing language. When you pick it up and read the ingredient list, it says things like saponified olive oil or saponified coconut oil or sodium olivate and water and salt. That's it. Maybe some fragrance if it's a scented variety, but that's essentially the complete ingredient list. 5 or 6 ingredients maximum, all of which you recognize and understand. You might pass right by it. It doesn't promise anything. It doesn't tell a story. It doesn't appeal to your values. It doesn't make you feel like you're making a smart choice or a good choice or any kind of special choice. It's just soap, just a basic bar of soap. The packaging doesn't convince you. The branding is minimal. There's no narrative pulling you in. So you probably don't buy it. You probably go with one of the options that made you feel something, that promised something, that told you a story. You probably choose based on the marketing rather than on the actual product. But here's the thing that you don't realize. That unassuming bar of soap is probably the best thing on the entire shelf. It's likely actual soap, made through a process called saponification, where oils are combined with lye and water to create soap. It doesn't contain synthetic detergents. It doesn't strip your skin the way the other products do. When you use it, your skin feels clean but not tight. It doesn't dry out. It doesn't cause your skin to overproduce oil to compensate for what was stripped away. It doesn't leave a film or residue on your skin. It doesn't cause irritation. It just works. It does what soap is supposed to do. It cleans your skin without damaging the protective barrier that keeps your skin healthy. But you can't see that value from the shelf. You can't know it just by looking at the packaging or reading the front label. You can't feel it just by smelling the bar or holding it in your hand. You have to actually use it. You have to use it for several days and pay attention to how your skin responds. You have to compare it, consciously and carefully, to what you've been using before. You have to notice that your skin doesn't feel tight anymore. You have to notice that the tightness that you thought was just how your skin is actually goes away. You have to realize that your skin feeling comfortable is different from your skin feeling tight. And most people don't do that work. Most people take a bar of soap home, use it for a few days, and if it doesn't feel luxurious or special, if it doesn't make them feel like they made a good choice, they assume it's not good. They assume it's boring or cheap or not effective. They assume that the soap that made them feel something when they bought it must be better than the soap that made them feel nothing. This is where the real problem in the soap aisle reveals itself. The products that are actually best for your skin are the ones that are marketed the least. They don't have compelling stories because their value proposition is straightforward and simple. They clean your skin without damage. That's not a story that sells. There's no narrative arc. There's no emotional appeal. There's nothing that makes you feel like you're making a smart choice or a good choice or any kind of choice at all. You're just buying basic soap that does what soap is supposed to do. But the companies that have learned to sell soap successfully have figured out how to create stories around basic products. They've figured out how to take ingredients that are fundamentally harsh, like sodium lauryl sulfate, and reframe them as gentle or natural. They've figured out how to take products that strip your skin and position them as moisturizing. They've figured out how to use pricing as a signal of quality, so that a more expensive product seems automatically better even if it's functionally identical to a cheaper option. They've figured out how to use packaging and claims and imagery and storytelling to make you feel like you're making a good choice when you're actually just buying marketing. They've learned that if they can make you feel a certain way about a product, you'll keep buying it even if it doesn't actually work well for your skin. So what should you actually do when you're standing in the soap aisle trying to make a choice? The first thing is to stop making your decision based on how the packaging makes you feel. That's genuinely difficult, because packaging is specifically designed to make you feel a certain way, and it works. But you have to consciously override that emotional response. You have to remind yourself that the claims on the front, the imagery, the story, the pricing, the color palette, the design, none of it tells you what the soap will actually do to your skin. None of it tells you whether the product will clean you gently or harshly. None of it tells you whether your skin will feel comfortable or uncomfortable after using it. So you have to ignore all of that, as much as you can. Instead, read the ingredient list. Not just glance at it. Read it carefully and try to understand what you're reading. The primary cleansing ingredient should be soap, which will be listed as sodium cocoate, or sodium palmate, or sodium olivate, or something similar. Some bars will literally say soap as an ingredient. If the primary cleansing ingredient is a synthetic detergent like sodium lauryl sulfate or sodium laureth sulfate, then you're not buying soap. You're buying a product that's not going to treat your skin gently, regardless of what the packaging claims. If you see a very long ingredient list with lots of things you don't recognize, that's usually a sign that the product is more heavily engineered than simple. The second thing is to try an actual soap and pay very close attention to how your skin responds. You can find real soap in most grocery stores. It might be in the basic personal care section rather than in the fancy skincare section. It might be a brand you've never heard of. It might just look boring and plain compared to the other options, but if you buy one and use it for a week, paying attention to how your skin feels, you'll notice a significant difference. Your skin won't feel tight, it won't feel stripped or over dry, it won't overproduce oil. It will just feel clean and normal and comfortable. That's what you're actually looking for, even if it doesn't feel like a special or luxurious experience. Once you experience the difference, it becomes hard to go back to the harsh alternatives, even if they come with prettier packaging and more compelling marketing stories. The third thing is to consider trying soap from a small maker or artisanal producer. You might find these at a farmer's market, at a specialty shop, or online. These soaps are usually more expensive than commercial ones, sometimes significantly more. But they're made using traditional soap-making methods, often cold process methods, where oils are combined with lye at room temperature and allowed to cure for weeks. The ingredient lists are transparent. The makers can tell you exactly what's in their soap and why they chose each ingredient. And because they're small operations without the pressure to maximize profit margins, they focus on making genuinely good soap rather than on optimizing for marketing and cost reduction. These soaps often feel noticeably different from commercial ones. They feel more substantial, they lather differently, they rinse differently. They leave your skin feeling differently, and they're usually significantly better for your skin's health. The fourth thing is to understand that soap doesn't need to be complicated. The most effective soap for most people is simple: oil, lye, water, and maybe some fragrance or essential oil for scent. That's it. That's all you need. If you see a long list of other ingredients, it's usually there for marketing purposes, or for extending shelf life, or for some other commercial reason, not because your skin needs it. Simplicity is usually better. The fewer ingredients, the less likely the product is to irritate your skin. The fewer ingredients, the more transparent the product is. The fewer ingredients, the closer you are to actual soap. The reason all of this matters, the reason it's worth thinking about and paying attention to when you're shopping, is that the soap aisle is a window into how modern consumer goods companies operate. They've learned that if they can make you feel a certain way about a product, you'll keep buying it even if it doesn't work well. They've learned that you're more likely to base your purchasing decision on packaging, design, branding, and story than you are on actual product performance. They've learned that you'll pay significantly more for a narrative than you will for actual quality, and they've built their entire business models around that understanding. Once you realize this about soap, you start to see the same patterns everywhere. The shampoo that promises to volumize your hair but actually strips it. The lotion that claims to moisturize but contains ingredients that increase water loss from your skin. The face wash that says gentle but uses the same harsh detergents as everything else. The deodorant that promises to be natural but contains synthetic ingredients. The toothpaste that promises to whiten your teeth but is just abrasive. In every category, the marketing tells one story and the product delivers another. The companies have learned that if they can create a compelling story and package it attractively, most people will buy based on the story rather than on actual product performance. So the next time you're standing in the soap aisle, try a different approach. Ignore the packaging, ignore the claims, ignore the price as a signal of quality. Read the ingredient list carefully. Look for actual soap. Look for simple formulations. Try something that doesn't promise anything special. Compare how your skin feels over several days of use. Pay attention to the actual experience of using the product rather than to how buying it makes you feel. That shift in how you shop, that deliberate attention to actual product performance rather than to marketing, will change what you buy. And what you buy will probably be better for your skin. What soap do you have in your shower right now? Go look at it. Read the full ingredient list. Is it actual soap or is it primarily synthetic detergent? How does it make your skin feel? Have you noticed any difference when you've switched between products? Have you ever tried a basic bar of actual soap and paid attention to how different it felt? Share what you find in the comments. Let's compare notes on what we're actually buying and what it actually does to our skin. This conversation matters because the more people pay attention to what's actually in their products, the more pressure there is on brands to actually deliver real value instead of just selling stories. The more people understand the difference between soap and synthetic detergent, the more meaningful choice they have in what they buy. And the more people choose products based on actual performance rather than on packaging and marketing claims, the more the market has to shift toward genuinely good products. That's how real change happens in consumer goods. It happens one shopper at a time, paying attention, asking questions, comparing experiences, and choosing differently based on what actually works, rather than on what sounds good.